In today's video, I'll be talking about front-end development. What is front-end development? Well, it's a process of receiving data and displaying it beautifully using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you're new to programming, I recommend for you to take a look at one of my previous videos called Basic Concepts of Programming for Absolute Beginners. Check it out. If you're new to the channel, I'm DevPool. My whole goal is to help beginners and juniors to succeed in the tech industry through my experience. I will be talking about software development, how to be competitive when it comes to job hunting, as well as I'll be giving out career advices that I wish I had when I was starting out. But now, let's back to the video. Okay, let's start first with basic languages, and the one we should probably start with is HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and essentially what it is, what it does, it helps you to display your content on a web page through tags like header, footer, p tag, which is paragraph, and there's a lot more other tags out there. Next, we're on to Cascading Stylesheets, or CSS. It's a designing language that allows you to display your content in a presentable or friendly way. For example, if you're building a website and you do want to make it as responsive as possible, no matter what the screen size is, you'll be using CSS for that. It will allow you to pretty much resize your website. And the reason why you want to do that is because sometimes when you do have a website that looks amazing on the desktop, but when you switch to like an iPad version or like a smaller like your smartphone, it looks like garbage really. And that's actually something that I've noticed in the past, where some people, they'll have amazing websites, but I tried their website on my phone to test it out, or like actually to use it because I didn't have my laptop. It wasn't friendly at all. And for me as a user, I didn't like the experience, so just quit the website. And that is something you do want to keep in mind whenever you do design something. You do want to test your application multiple times. By the way, guys, let me know in the description, have you touched the CSS or HTML at all? And now we're to the last part of a main language you probably should know when it comes to front-end development. And I'll say it's the most important one to know, and that's JavaScript. JavaScript manipulates DOM, Document Object Model, like a like button or a subscribe button, just like you're about to subscribe to my channel. Let's say when you do click on that button or like button, a certain action has been happening on the backside. For example, send a specific data somewhere else, or to display a small box like alert box saying hello world, or you just have subscribed to a DevPool channel. But also the three basic things you do need to know when it comes to front-end development. But you're not out of the woods yet, because we still need to know our tools, right? The first tool that I'd like to point out is Visual Studio Code. And it's one of those ideas that I use it personally like every day when it comes to web development, because it has all those helpful things, like whenever I write something and I save it, it will automatically inline my code to make sure that it looks a little bit readable for people. But it's not just that. That tool is just super powerful. It has so many plugins. Whatever you want to do in the front-end development will definitely be available in the Visual Studio Code. One more thing to point out about Visual Studio Code is when it comes to debugging, that's the tool we use. But not just that tool actually, but we also use our browsers. What I mean is, if you're right now watching this video using your PC, I encourage you right now, right-click on your mouse. You should be able to see the inspect. Now, if you're on the Mac, I believe you probably need to enable that functionality under development tools if you haven't done that. But by default, for most people like Windows users, if you click right-click on a mouse, inspect, something should come up at the bottom or on the side of your screen with a bunch of like HTML code. And that's where actually we also start to like inspect our code when it comes to designing. And when it comes to debugging like JavaScript, if you click on a console, you should be able to write your JavaScript code in there. Another powerful thing that front-end developers are using are we are downloading different plugins for our browsers. So let's say I'm actually using React or Vue.js for my front-end development. I could just download a plugin on my browser that will automatically tell me what elements are there, or it's a tool that will help me to debug my React app in case there's a bug that I can't resolve it using the browser inspect. Now, if you just went over CSS, HTML, and JavaScript on your own, that's great. However, we don't create our web applications from scratch anymore. Actually, we'll be using different frameworks that actually help us. Some of the frameworks out there, like for JavaScript, are React.js, Vue.js, AngularJS, Ember.js. There's just so many different frameworks for JavaScript, but the ones I just mentioned, they're most popular ones that people are using. Today, like 2020, Vue is the one that got the most popularity, but that's Vue is something I personally use, but you don't have to use Vue if you don't want to. You can, again, use React or AngularJS. And the reason why we're using those frameworks is because they're allowing us to structure our code in a file so we can find our code easier, as well as performance. That's what comes down to important for developers, is to make sure that whenever our customers, our users come to our website, it doesn't take like 20 seconds to load the page. It should be milliseconds, it should be fast, because that is something that people do look at. When I come to the website, it loaded up quick, and we're going from there. As for CSS, we're using different tools for that, like Tailwind, Bootstrap. Instead of us writing each style, let's say, how do I want to make this box look like, how do I want the specific part of my application look like. Okay, now I just want to mention some other tools that we use in the front end, like Webpack or Gulp. Pretty much it just allows you to load your website a lot faster. But if you're using a framework like Vue.js or Nuxt.js that is built on top of Vue.js, it already comes with a Webpack, so you don't really have to worry about installing. As a front-end developer, you do need to know a little bit about back-end development. If you're not subscribed yet, consider doing it now, because in my next video, I'll be talking about back-end development and how can you use JavaScript in the back-end as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!